Hello, everyone. So in this video, we are going to learn about the early evidence of the drifting continents. So before talking more about the modern day plate tectonic theory, I think we should take a look at an earlier theory called the continental drift theory. And this theory was proposed by a German meteorologist named Alfred Wegener. Wegener was actually the one who proposed that all the continents and all the land masses that we see on the present day, they all used to fit together, right? They created this huge landmass called the supercontinent of Pangaea. And Wegener also proposed that the Pangaea was later broken into smaller pieces, and these pieces were later drifted apart, creating the present day configuration of continents that we see today. Well, in science, when someone proposes a new idea, they must defend that idea with, scientific evidence, and that is the same case with Wegener's new theory at the time. Wegener also collected evidence that are primarily based on geology and paleontology. And let's take a look at his first evidence, which is the obvious fit of the continents. As you can see here in this figure, the shapes of North America, South America, and Africa, they all just, look like the largest puzzle pieces on Earth, and they all fit nicely like that. So that is Wegener's first evidence for his theory. And the second evidence was about the distribution of ancient climatic belts. And in that figure at the top there, I'm showing you, the white patches that are present in the southern parts of South America, Africa, India, and even Australia. And these white patches represent glacial deposits that have the same age, which is late Paleozoic. Okay, so the big question here is that how come we have a glacial deposit in tropical or subtropical regions in Africa or India, right? So this doesn't make any sense, right? So Wegener actually proposed that the reason why we had this glacial deposits in these continents simply because these continents were all together. So the southern tips of these continents were actually all together in the South Pole region of the Earth, hundreds of million years ago, together with Antarctica. And that is the reason why we have glacial deposits in these continents. So that was the second one. And not only that, if we fit all those continents together, we actually will have a nice alignment of ancient climatic belts, not just the glacial part of it. So for example, we have a nice alignment of tropical belts, and then if you go towards the south, we have the subtropics, and then eventually you go into the glaciated climatic belts in the South Pole. But these configuration looks exactly like what the Earth climatic belts looks like today. For the third evidence, Wegener also brought up about the fossil distribution across these continents, especially the discovery of fossils of land-dwelling animals that are discovered, throughout this continent. So, for example, we have that little guy right there named Cynonatus. The Cynonatus have 4 legs, and they're definitely land-dwelling animals, but their fossils were discovered in both African and South American continents. Currently are separated by a huge ocean of South Atlantic in the middle. So unless these animals were able to swim across the pond, which doesn't make any sense, the best explanation is that the African and South American continent were both simply together, sometimes in the past, allowing these land-dwelling animals to roam across the continents. And the fourth and last evidence that Wegener brought up was about the matching geologic units. He also observed that there are rock units that have the same age in Africa and South America that match up. Not only that, if we take a look at what we have here in the east coast of North American continent, we also have Paleozoic mountain belts here in the east coast, which is called the Appalachian Mountains here in the east coast, that matches up with another mountain belt in the west coast of Africa. Okay, so these are these evidence belong to the fourth evidence of Wegener's continental drift theory. Well, despite the solid geology and paleontology evidence that he brought up, Wegener actually failed to explain the mechanisms of the drifting continents. So therefore, his theory was later rejected. And until he died, he simply never witnessed how his idea developed into, one of the most fundamental concepts in geology called the plate tectonics theory. So in the next videos, we are going to discuss plate tectonics theory a little bit more detail. I'll see you in the next videos. Bye-bye now.